Romeo and Juliet. In the ancient city of Verona, Lord Capulet was planning a party. He was sure that no members of the Montague family would turn up, as the Capulets and Montagues had been fighting for years. The quarrel ran so deep that even their servants had been fighting. But Lord Capulet was wrong. Romeo, Lord Montague's son, and Mercutio, his friend, did come, in disguise. He was infatuated with Lord Capulet's niece, Rosalind. Romeo, however, instantly forgot Rosalind when he saw Lord Capulet's sweet young daughter, Juliet. Her beauty stole his heart. Unfortunately, Romeo was recognised by Lord Capulet's fiery nephew, Tybalt. But Lord Capulet forbade fighting at his ball and made Romeo welcome. So Romeo wooed Juliet, and soon their love was mutual despite the feud. As the party ended, Juliet ran to her balcony to declare her love for Romeo. Romeo risked death by climbing the Capulets' orchard wall to see Juliet. That night, the loving pair agreed to get married in secret, lest their feuding families part them. As dawn broke and Juliet's nurse finally got her to bed, Romeo raced over to see Friar Lawrence. The friar agreed to marry the sweethearts Romeo and Juliet, hoping that this would unite the families and put an end to their fighting. Later that morning, Juliet joined Romeo at the chapel, and the happy pair got married. Then Romeo and Juliet parted, as they knew they must, until Friar Lawrence had broken the news to their families. On the way home, Romeo met his good friends Benvolio and Mercutio, being harassed by Tybalt for consorting with a Montague. Romeo, now related to Tybalt by his marriage, tried to prevent this fight but failed. Tybalt and Mercutio's swords clashed and Mercutio fell dead. Provoked by his friend's death, Romeo struck Tybalt a fatal blow and Tybalt fell dead. The Prince of Verona was so tired with his fighting families disturbing the peace that when he heard of the deaths, he banished Romeo, sending him out of Verona for good. Unhappy Juliet, her cousin killed by Romeo, and Romeo now in exile. What could Romeo do but go and beg for her forgiveness and say farewell? Not until morning did the lovers part, hoping that soon Friar Lawrence could secure a pardon for Romeo and pacify their families. But Lord Capulet, thinking to comfort Juliet after Tybalt's death, told her faithful suitor Paris that soon they could marry on Thursday. Horrified, Juliet rejected the plan, but dared not reveal her marriage to Romeo. Juliet ran to Friar Lawrence for help, and in desperation they agreed a devious plot. Accordingly, Juliet went home and, to her father's joy, agreed to marry Paris. Before the wedding, Juliet took a drug so as to appear dead for 42 hours. When Juliet's nurse tried to wake her, she seemed quite lifeless. So amid deep mourning, the wedding party became a funeral procession. Juliet was carried to the family's burial vault, from where, according to the friar's plan, Romeo would rescue her. But the friar's letter telling Romeo of this scheme went astray. A messenger told Romeo the false news that Juliet had died. Romeo bought poison and went to the tomb. There he found Paris, who in his misery attacked Romeo, who killed him in defense. Then Romeo gave Juliet a kiss and drank the poison. Just too late, Friar Lawrence arrived, now aware that this letter had not reached Romeo. As the friar cried out in horror, Juliet awoke to see Romeo lifeless beside her. Hearing voices approach, the friar fled, but Juliet, unable to imagine a life without Romeo, took up a dagger and, stabbing himself, fell dead upon her husband's body. When the stricken families of the Montagues and Capulets arrived at this tragic scene, they were grief-stricken at the consequences of their vendetta. Lord Capulet and Lord Montague vowed to raise a golden statue to each other's child. Thus they buried their feud, along with their precious children, Romeo and his sweet Juliet. The end.